Calm returns to the streets of Sri Lanka's capital of Colombo, this a day after the unprecedented protests in the country. On the streets, the protesters were jubilant as President Gotabaya Rajapaksa agreed to resign. After his house was stormed amid outrage over the South Asian nation's crumbling economy, President Rajapaksa says he would step down on the 13th of July. The development came after tens of thousands of demonstrators rocked the island nation, bringing the country to a complete standstill. Sri Lanka's parliamentary speaker said on Saturday that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has decided to step down, bowing to the public pressure.
I personally informed the president about the decisions made at the party leaders' meeting today. He agreed to implement those decisions. Also, he informed me and asked me to tell the country that he will resign on July 13th to ensure a peaceful handover of power. Therefore, there is no need to destabilize the country any longer.
Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has reportedly fled after protesters stormed into his residence. Angry demonstrators broke into the presidential secretariat. Protesters first surrounded the secretariat, then they clashed with the police before forcibly making their way into the president's house. The country is currently witnessing one of the largest anti-government protests in recent days. Now, the anger among the people has been rising for months, which yesterday reached its peak. Demonstrators also stormed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's private home in Colombo to voice their anger, following which the house was set on fire. Wickremesinghe has also offered to resign, however, on one condition, that an all-party government is formed prior to his departure.
මම ජනාධිපතිතුමා යෝජනා කරේ සර්ව පාක්ෂික ආණ්ඩුවක් ඇති කරන්න. අද මේ රටේ ඉන්ධන ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා, ඒ වගේම ආහාර හිඟයක් තියෙනවා. මේ සඳහා ආහාර වැඩසටහනේ ප්‍රධානිය ලංකාවට එනවා. IMF සංවිධානයේ සමග වැදගත් කරුණු කීපයක් සාකච්ඡා කරන්න තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඉවත් වුණාම වෙන ආණ්ඩුවක් එවලෙම අපි පත් කරන්න උවමනයි. රටේ ආණ්ඩු පාලනයක් නැතුව ආණ්ඩුවක් නැතුව මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ගෙනියන එක වැරද්දක්. ඉතින් මේ ආණ්ඩුව මම යලිත් කියනවා මේ ආණ්ඩුව ඉවත් වෙනකොට තව අලුත් ආණ්ඩුවක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ.
Meanwhile, as this unfolded, reports also suggested that 2 Sri Lankan ministers have resigned from their posts following the mass protests. Sri Lanka is facing its worst financial meltdown since its independence, with months of frequent power outages and acute shortages of food, fuel, and medicines. The crisis has hit the majority of the common households. Foreign exchange reserves have dropped exponentially, and practically with no money, the government had to seek help from its allies and the IMF to keep the country afloat. However, despite some crucial attempts to revive the economy and shift of power within the government, nothing significant has been achieved so far. Now, WION has been tracking all the latest updates from the ground. Our correspondent, Dasunia Tora, who is currently in Colombo, has sent us this exclusive report from the Presidential Secretariat, a major site for the anti-government protests. Take a look at this report.
It is no secret that the island nation has been grappling with one of its worst economic crises that resulted in much of its population standing in line for days for basic goods such as fuel, gas, or even certain food commodities. Let's not also forget that more than 14 individuals have lost their lives by purely standing in line to obtain these basic goods. While the news of the president's resignation, along with the prime minister's intention to resign, comes, the people of Sri Lanka will rejoice. However, the question still remains, how, or rather who, will take Sri Lanka out of this crisis right now? Stay with WION World is One as we bring you the very latest of what transpires here in Sri Lanka, both politically as well as economically. Reporting from Colombo, I'm Dasunia Tora.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.